Uh, okay, I think I'm recording. Okay, so welcome again and thank you for your time and being here. And to move on to the first question, please tell us about a little bit about your company and what your role is in the company.
Okay, so JohnsByrne is a full service print and packaging company. So we normally get involved with a client from when they have the kind of conception of what they're wanting to do for packaging, so that we have our company. And you know what? I should have been more prepared with a PowerPoint to show you, which I can send you after if you'd like.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
yeah, I've got, so what we do is we get involved with the beginning of the concept from the customer, and we work on structurally. We have a structural design group here, okay? Through that structural design group, they do white comps and mock-ups for the customer based on what their ideas and their concepts were. From there, then we're able to put a price to it based on the quantity and the treatments that the client wants. So we take it from, hang on a second, let me see. I don't have any real white comps in this office with me. I was going to show you. So you know what a basic CAD sample would be anyway. So it's a CAD cut white sample to show the client how the structure is, how it performs, the sizing, be sure everything fits in it properly. Then from there, we can quote the job based on the quantity they're looking for and the various print treatments that they're looking for. So we can then put a price to what their program is going to cost. Once they understand that and are happy with all of that, they then supply us with artwork. We don't do graphic design here, okay? So we'll share those die lines with them. We will work with them as they mock up their artwork onto those die lines. They give it back to us. Then from there, we can move on with creating their package. And what we do in-house here is we'll print, we can emboss, foil stamp, die cut, and fold and glue.
Okay.
And then at that point for liquor, because we're not licensed, I guess, to handle the liquor bottles themselves. So then it goes from there, the packages will leave us and go to the customer's fulfillment facility, wherever it is that they're going to insert the bottles and distribute out to the stores.
Okay, I see. And the second question is, do you use digital printing or traditional printing methods?
We use all litho printing. We only would use digital printing. We do a little bit of, and it's not, we'll call it digital. We do a little bit of that in-house for mock-ups if we want to do a color mock-up. We don't do a whole lot of that. We certainly don't do it as part of our offering for production. It's all standard litho, UV litho printing that we do.
Oh, okay. And I guess the third question you kind of mentioned a little bit. So like what kind of packaging features does your company offer? Like you've mentioned embossing, and do you also offer like matte finishing, gloss, metallized finishes?
Right, we have all of the above. So we can do matte, gloss, pearlized, textured, metallic types of finishes. Although with metallic finishes, we also offer foil stamping, so you could select that foil stamping as an option as well. You know, the embossing, and then, you know, the die cutting, the folding, the gluing. So, and when you get into like coatings and things like that, there's a whole huge variety of combinations you can come up with on those. We have a one press in particular. Do you understand print presses very much?
Yeah, our program is based.
That is the program. Okay. So most print presses have all of your ink fountains up front. You're putting down 4, 6, or 8 colors in different combinations, and then you've got a coater at the end of the press. That's kind of a traditional press. We have a specialized press we had made for us that actually has 3 coaters on it. So we can put coatings up front, in the middle, and at the end. So we can, I mean, you have a huge combination. Again, I'm going to be happy to send you, I'll send you a PowerPoint when we're done that talks about that press and shows you some of the samples of some of the work that we do, which I really, now that I think about it, I wish I would have sent you that before we got on this conversation, because it probably would have given you more information. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. If I have it like afterwards, I can
Sure.
take a look at it. Yeah.
Okay.
And the fourth question is back to, it's kind of relating to the third question. Like, are there different levels of thickness that you offer? Are liquor packages usually made with a thicker material?
Well, for the most part, it is, because you're dealing with heavy bottles. So you want to be sure that it's sustaining the bottle itself. I mean, here's a couple of samples of some things that we've done. Now, this particular box holds only one bottle in it. This box was made out of a 24-point stock. We printed, it has a soft touch coating to it. I don't know how familiar you are with soft touch, but it's a nice velvety feel.
Yeah.
Soft touch coating to it. You've got foil stamping on the box itself. And then you've got, it's hard to see, you've got a wood grain emboss. You see that?
Yeah, I see.
And then there's die cuts and folds and glues. So this was a 24-point stock to sustain the weight of the bottle in it. This particular one, we jumped up, we did a 28-point stock. This was printed, foil stamped, embossed on the sides here. And then this particular box has an insert. A lot of the boxes that we would do that would hold a bottle, and then you had premiums over here. You had the giveaways, the glasses or whatever that they were going to give away. That'll either fit into a corrugated insert that'll go inside of the box to support those items, or if I said a thermoform or a vac tray, do you understand what I'm talking about there?
What is a vac tray?
I don't think I have one of those available. So what a thermoform or a vac tray, it's a molded plastic piece that'll go inside of here, and it's molded and designed specifically so the bottle snaps in place, the two glasses snap in place, it slides inside and holds them very securely in place.
Oh, okay.
Okay. That we would buy on the outside. Most of our customers would buy their own if they're going to do that. We're going to supply the outside carton. They're buying their own vac trays to go inside.
Oh, okay. I see. And what have been the most challenging things that when you're working on a packaging project as a team, specifically for high-end liquor?
Most challenging?
Yeah.
Giving the customer what they're looking for in their budget. You know, the designers have grand ideas of what they want to do. Everything has a cost associated with it. So our challenge is to make it look like what they want within the budget that they've got, which the two don't always go together. I think that's probably one of the bigger challenges that we have, is working within a client's budget to give them as high end of a package as they're looking for, but being sure the project moves forward because it doesn't get priced out.
Okay. And are there any trends in the alcohol packaging in the moment? And if so, like what are the big ones that you know of?
Packaging trends themselves, you mean?
Yeah.
We do an awful lot with soft touch coatings. So that because of the feel, this has a soft touch on it as well, this particular box. So when the consumer picks this up, and I don't know if you can see, it's got kind of a leather embossed texture to it. Can you see that?
Yeah, I see.
So we're doing a lot of things that are textural right now, a lot of embossing, a lot of soft touch, but we're doing a lot more of this where we're doing overall embossings on things, which was probably come up in the last 3 or 4 years for us to be doing as much of that as we are. That's one of probably some of the biggest trends that we're seeing right now. And then any combination of coatings and stuff that makes their products stand out.
Okay. And like, and because you talked about the texture of the packaging, like what's so special about the texture that brings the customers that wants the product?
Well, visually, when you have a package, you can see that it's got a texture to it. It's more attractive to the client. The consumer, once they pick up a package, now this you could tell me probably better than me because you're in school for it right now, okay?
Yeah.
There's a percentage chance. I don't know if it's a 50% chance that they're going to keep it and put it in their cart versus putting it back. But if you can get them to pick it up and it's appealing, so it's got some texture to it, it's got some soft touch to it, it's appealing in their hand and a pretty package, then they're a lot more apt to buy it. So it's how do you make it appealing enough for the consumer to pick it up? And once they pick it up, you've got part of the battle won right there of them actually buying the product. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And since sustainability is such a huge topic right now, how does your team come up with the premium packaging while keeping it sustainable?
Okay. It is becoming more and more. I think with some of the customers that we deal with, because I mean, we're dealing with people like Jim Beam where you've got really high volume stuff. If it costs a lot more, they're less concerned about the sustainability. If it's a smaller company, or if you can do it for just slightly more, then yes, they're willing to go that route. I mean, we got 2 or 3 levels actually that we can do on sustainability. We can use FSC certified stocks, which are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So FSC certified stocks just means that we're buying from somebody who's conscious of this. It may not be recycled stock already, pardon me, but it's being harvested in a sustainable way. We do have certain clients that are looking for anywhere from 30 to 100% recycled stock within their carton. We have to be a little careful with that. We try and give them guidance. Again, when you get into recycled content, especially 100% recycled content, the box isn't quite as strong as it is when you're making it with virgin fibers. We're dealing with something that is a heavy product, and we want to be sure that we're giving them something that's safe and also is, fulfills the sustainability. So, and the other thing that we're seeing is, okay, so I was talking about doing in the liquor packaging, the insert piece that goes inside to hold the bottle in place and to hold the glasses in place. You can use a thermoform, which is plastic. Bad perception by most millennials. They don't like the idea of plastic. Or what we do here internally is we create that out of corrugated or chipboard. Looks more sustainable, actually is more sustainable because they can throw it right in their own recycling bin. And then we're also seeing the window treatments here. In a lot of packaging you see in the stores, you've got that window film that's inside of here. Probably 1 out of every 20 packages I do has window film in it anymore. They're really moving away from using the window film for sustainability, number one. And also, it's a little bit of an obstruction. I mean, I don't know which part of the business you're more interested in, whether it be the graphic design, the beauty part of it, or the actual production and makeup of it. But when you look at something with a film on it on the shelf, it's glary. You get a glare, you get, the light catches it. Sometimes it's kind of wrinkly. I think this is a lot better look. But then we have to design around the kind of windows where the consumer can't take it out of the box through the window. So that's the other challenge, is then we've got to figure out how to keep it secure within the box without the window film in the front.
Okay, I see. So in order to keep it sustainable, there's no way to, like, for example, if you want it sustainable, the material might be thinner, and which is not good for holding the bottle, as you mentioned. And
well, it doesn't know sustainable doesn't necessarily mean it has to be it needs to be thinner. It just needs to be either sustainably forested through like an FSC or recyclable, which this whole box you can throw right in the recycling bin. So it would be fine just as is. So it is a recyclable product at that point. So I think most of what we do is, and we follow our customers' lead on that, whether they want to do recycled stock or not, that's going to be their choice. But most everything that we put out probably 75–80% of what we put out is recyclable. We can put it back into the stream again and recycle it and use it again.
Oh, okay. And I understand that there are some ink in the printing press that are more sustainable to the environment. For example, like the, I think more liquid-based inks are.
Well, all we use UV inks on everything that we have. So all of our inks, nothing with the inks that we use makes the product not environmentally friendly.
Huh.
So that's just us, though. I mean, that's the kind of inks that we use. We have a special ventilation system for any of the fumes and stuff that remove them from the air. And there's anything that we print, the print process does not make it so that it cannot be recycled.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what are some key points to creating a successful packaging? Like, what would you think?
Start early with your client. For us, okay? We like to start as early as we can in their planning process so that we can start doing our structural design around what they're looking for and what fits our equipment the best, okay? And understanding, a lot of that is just understanding what they're trying to accomplish. They need a really high-end product. How many are they making? Are they okay with kind of a medium grade product because they're going to do 100,000 of these cartons and they don't want to spend a lot of money? I think the biggest success is communication with your client and understanding what it is that they're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm in sales. Excuse me. I'm in sales, so that would be my part. So.
Yeah, I guess that would be the most important part to.
Yeah. I mean, you might get a different answer from someone else in production. But, I think that the biggest part of it is understanding up front what they're looking for and what their guidelines are. And, my customers, I know, especially long-term customers, I know what their guidelines are on color and how close to color I need to be for them and, what their expectation is. And it's just really, really important that you understand. But all of that's communication, all that's communication. Then from there, you use all the tools that you have to give them a nice looking box. You use your designers in the design room to come up with creative ideas. You use all the tools that we have in our press room to give them coatings and stuff that are superior. We do have a full quality control department here so that they oversee every step of the process. Are you familiar with ISO? So if I said we're ISO certified,
yeah,
it's a quality standard.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a quality standard we have to live up to that can be used across all products. And so there's certain checks that are done on press by the quality people to be sure that we are maintaining, especially through like longer run stuff. If you're going to be on press for a long time, you don't want your color drifting in and out. So they're constantly checking on that. The pressmen are constantly checking on it. That's all tools that you use to give the client a quality product. But you're not going to get to that point unless you're listening to them from the very beginning and understanding what it is that they're trying to do. Now, once you have done it long enough, then you make suggestions. They may say, well, we want to try and do this, but we don't know how to get there. Well, that's my job to figure out how they get there with the tools that I have involved here in the office. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and relating back to the previous question, how do you make a packaging stand out and unique? Can you go into like more in depth on that question?
God, there's so many ways to make it stand out. Well, let's start with, let's bullet point a few things. Okay. The first thing is structure. Mm-hmm. You can create an interesting and different structure for them based on what they're looking for. Hang on, let me see. Oh, here's a great one. So we came up with this one for Canadian Club. It's a really high end, it's a $300 bottle of booze that goes in here, okay? They wanted something that made their product look really, so it's a rigid box, it's nice and hard, it's got gloss coatings on it, it's got embossing on it, it's got foil stamping on it, and then they wanted an interesting closure to it. Mm-hmm. So we worked and we created a closure that has a magnet. You can hear that?
Yeah.
So it's got a magnetic closure on the back. It loads from the top. Now, they also included, they put the bottle in a bag and they had a gorgeous bottle. None of that I control, but you know, this is just one piece of the puzzle to give them something that they thought was a really premium box with a different structure to it.
Yeah.
Okay? So structure is one of the biggest things to come up with a creative structure. We also do work, this isn't in liquor, but we also do work for cosmetics. I mean, so they wanted something different. We give them a triangular shape where your cosmetics fit in here. And this particular one was done in silver foil stock. This does have a window in it. They did want a window in this particular one. So you've got the clear APET window in it, but they wanted something different. So we gave them a little bit of, so this, you know, it's gonna catch a consumer's eye. So structure is one of the biggest things. And then the other thing is the materials that you use to make it. Okay. It could be, there's just a host of different types of stock out there that you could use with different textures to them and different coateds versus uncoateds. And then of course the print techniques that you would use. So whether it be, you know, you can make it stand out with the foil stamping on it, gloss like I have right here. This is all soft touch matte that I've got here, you know, and then the embossing. So there's a lot of ways, and every project's going to be a little bit different. I don't know if I'm answering your question though.
So in the liquor packagings that your company have done in the past, what do you see as the most common material that the client would want to use in the packagings? Like, for example, you've mentioned the texture, the soft touch texture, and also the gloss bossing.
Right.
And what are some common things that they like to use?
Well, the type of stock I use most for almost, I shouldn't say all my packaging, for a lot of the packaging is a standard. If I say SBS, do you know what I'm talking about? Like a 24-point SBS. It's just SBS is a solid bleach board, or solid bleach stock. And so it's just a white paper, 24, 28 point thick. That's where both of these started. Just a regular white paper. And then we've done everything else to it to create the look that it's got. That is the biggest, out of all the papers or the stocks that I use, that's what I use the most. Not that customers are looking for some unusual things, but I can usually create on press the look that they're going for without them going to an expensive stock. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like the stocks that they use is the most, like the SBS, as you mentioned.
SBS is really probably what I'm using the most out of anything. And then we will get off onto some other stocks. Are you familiar with Neenah stocks? Neenah, Neenah?
I don't think we've got to that part in our course yet.
Okay. Because they do some specialty stocks that, you know, it comes in various colors and textures, coateds and uncoateds, and they do a pretty extensive amount of stocks. It might be interesting for you later on down the road. So let's not get it too confused right now.
Okay. And our final question today, I think we've been mentioning the whole time, is what was the most challenging project so far? Like for in terms of liquor.
Hold on. Well, so I did this program and it doesn't have the bottles in it, okay?
Okay.
So this was a project I did for Maker's Mark. They wanted to hold 3 bottles in here, 3 of the smaller bottles in here, okay? And I don't have the inserts, unfortunately. So what we had to do was create a structure that held it. And so in the bottom of each one of these, there was a special cavity to hold the base of the bottle. And then the same thing with the top. And then they wanted an interesting opening. So we went through probably about 4 or 5 different ideas for them. but we ended up with this book style opening on it with the, we kind of create around a lot of interesting, more difficult programs. So, I mean, this is just one, but we did this setup for them about 2 or 3 years ago, and they've done various styles of this every year. So what's interesting is we created a baseline for them here on this type of box right here that they were looking for, based on what the designers were looking for, with the 3 bottles in it. And then this thing has run multiple times. A lot of what we do is a one-time run. It'll be run it one time and we're done, because most all what we do is promotional specialty packaging, okay? Whereas I know there are companies like us, they run the same kind of box all the time. It's not our deal. We're always creating a new style, a new type of box. So there's always a new challenge coming towards us for that.
Okay, I see. Because there are always like new things, new trends coming up in the industry, and then you always
new trends, and marketing is always, especially with liquor, marketing's looking for new ways to show their product, new ways to display their product. They're coming out with something new. I mean, we've seen a lot of flavored liquors coming out now, so especially like vodkas and things like that. So when they're putting the new ones out in the market, they want to be able to showcase them. So they're going to take maybe put it together with 2 of the flavored ones, so people pick it all up and taste it and try it. So there's constantly new stuff happening for us. They're going to do all the time. I'd love them if there was, because but yeah, there's not a lot of repeat stuff that goes on. Most of what we do is unique to each time we run it.
Okay, I see. Yeah, because I've read the website and I saw a lot of interesting packaging designs on your website, and I'm really interested in knowing like all the challenges that you guys face, like the most challenging ones, because they all look so unique.
Yeah, and that is what we do. We do unique packaging all the time for our customers. They're always looking for something different to put out there in the market. So
yeah. Okay, I guess that's all the questions I have for you today. And once again, thank you so much for.
I appreciate that you reached out for us to do this together, and I hope I was able to answer your questions. Okay, so
yeah, you answered all of my questions, and yeah. Would you mind to send me the PowerPoint that you mentioned earlier?
No, I'll be happy to do that. Just give me a little bit. I got another meeting I'm going to, but I'll try and get it to you yet this afternoon, okay?
Okay, yeah, thank you so much.
All right, good deal. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Take care. Bye-bye.